Today is Saturday, April 25th, 2015, and this is the Bunny Slippers Are Evil Job Seekers Call-In Show, presented by Evil Bunny Consulting. I'm your host, Tyrone Griffin, and if it's 3 p.m. you have on your bunny slippers, you are not looking for a job. Welcome first-time and returning listeners. In this show, we discuss strategies and tactics of job search, staying motivated, and dealing with career transition. For more tips, resources, daily motivations, and a list of archive shows, go to the website bunnyslippersareevil.com. There you will also find links to the show's Facebook page, Twitter handle, and our 1-minute bunny tips. If you are listening live, you can call in with your questions at 347-202-0929. Again, that number is 347-202-0929. Now, a word from our sponsors. Evil Bunny Consulting is the alternative to expensive outplacement. They give company-sponsored job seeker workshops as well as the one-on-one job seeker boot camp with a money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied or if you don't find it useful, for more information, go to www.bunnyslippersareevil.com. Resume Edit is the low-cost, high-quality resume writing company with resumes as low as $35 written by certified resume writers. You can find them online at www.resume4edit.com or call 404-860-2473 and be sure to tell them you heard about them on the Bunny Slippers Are Evil Job Seekers podcast. Let 3dresumes.net turn your resume into a web page with a customized domain for 12 months for only $30. Help hiring managers and recruiters find you, make your resume available 24/7, and get a professional personalized email address just for your job search. You can see my online resume at tyronegriffin.com, and for more information on how to get your own, go to 3dresumes.net. If you are thinking or about to look for a job in today's world, you will find a new reality in the job search process. The world has changed. Job search today is much more complicated than 5 years ago. Volumes of resumes, more applicant screening systems, depersonalized applications, panel interviews, team hiring, long complicated applications, branding, and social media. Yes, the world has changed. But have you? Are you still trying yesterday's approach? Why struggle and miss out on today's opportunities? Career Oyster is here to help. Great coaches, the latest resources, unique strategies personally tailored to your job search. Find out the new reality and how you can prevent costly mistakes. To register for a free 45-minute private session with our head coach, Howard Caddy, go to careeroyster.com. Find out the facts now, and you'll be glad you did. Remember, the world is your oyster. Be the pearl. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another show. I'm glad to be with you this week. I hope you had a good and productive job search week. It was beautiful here all week, and then it's raining today. But thank God everything else is going okay. So today's topic is when it's time to consider a new industry. And that one, I kind of struggled trying to figure that one out as far as what we're going to talk about, what I wanted to talk about. But, and yes, I am multitasking. For those watching the video, yes, I am multitasking. The thing about it, a lot of people get caught up in thinking they're only good for one industry, and that's not the case a lot of times. Wait a minute, let me just type this and be done. I apologize, people, but this is what it's like when you have a multi-billion-dollar studio, but you're the only one. But the thing about new industry, see, a lot of people, first of all, go back to when you went to college. You came out of college and you did your whatever your major was, and you got a degree, and at that point, you didn't consider yourself to be stuck to one industry. Because say, for example, if your degree's in marketing, everybody needs marketing. If your degree is in, computer science, if it's in engineering, there are so many different industries that you can use that degree in. And people don't, when you're in college, you think about that. When you're first getting your degree, you think, okay, my first job, I can probably, do a lot of things. But, if you have a degree, if you got your degree in something like hospitality, well, yeah, you're kind of stuck there. Or if you got it in sports medicine, yeah, you're kind of stuck there. But a lot of other degrees and disciplines we get, you can go in, hundreds of different industries that you can pursue. What happens is though, as we get older, we get set in our careers. I'll use myself as an example. I was in the healthcare industry. We used to call it insurance, but I was in the healthcare industry for almost 2 decades. I know I look too young to be have done anything for two decades. I know. Yeah, I can't even talk. But there comes a time, sometimes, particularly in this market, the way the market is now. A lot more people, I think, are switching jobs more often. A lot more people are, finding them. Companies are still doing layoffs. It's not as publicized anymore. The the unemployment rate is relatively low, even though I think a lot of that has to do with just people having tuned out of the market and just decided that I'm going to go ahead and stop looking. But there are companies still doing layoffs. There are people still getting laid off. There are people still out there who've been looking for jobs for 2 or 3 years without luck. So it's still kind of bad. It's like it's people say, how bad is it? Well, it's not bad because I got a job. Well, yeah, just because you got a job don't mean everybody else does, you know. Um, but it's still bad out there. So sometimes you have to make that decision. You know what? I need to look outside my industry. Because you have company loyalty, and company loyalty is a good thing, and there's still it still has value. I think in general, and I'm not talking any specifics, but I think in general, it's getting harder to have that loyalty to a company or an industry just because the world is changing so fast that companies are doing more layoffs. So I have a relative actually who was a company person for years. Did overtime like crazy every weekend. I remember family gatherings. We couldn't see this person for sometimes because they were so busy doing overtime, and they got laid off. And it really rocked them because they had identified so much with that company that now that they didn't have that anymore, they didn't know what to do a lot of times. So um, anyway, sorry for that minor rat hole there. Um, but but anyway, the idea of considering, you have to wrap your mind around that. I was in the healthcare industry for almost 2 decades, and when I finally got back to work the first time, it was in hospitality. And even though they both start with H's, trust me, they are nothing alike. Insurance claims versus hotel bookings, no, just not two business, totally different. And I was fortunate; I was able to make that transition from one industry to another, and even now I've actually transitioned to a third industry. So I've actually worked in three separate industries. I've been blessed. That's all I can say. There are some similarities to a lot of them, but they're also very different businesses. So, and me, I always say that, job search is like dating. And I think about it in these terms. If you're, say for example, and I'm trying not to be I'm not trying to sound sexist. I don't believe I'm sexist, but I'm trying not to say anything that could be interpreted as being sexist. Say if you're a guy and you have your certain, somebody asks you, what kind of woman do you like, and you give, physical attributes. Yeah, I like a woman that's tall, that's, thick, thin, shapely, whatever. You give, this is the kind of women that I tend to date, you know. And then somebody, sees you with somebody who, your preferred woman is tall, and somebody sees you with somebody that's 5'1", like that's not your type. And you can say, well, yeah, but this type has some good qualities. Same thing with women. Maybe you like, you say, what kind of man do you date? And most of the guys you've dated are maybe, uh, muscular or whatever, and then you end up with a guy with a pot belly, but you're happy, and you go, "Wow, how did that happen?" Same thing, gay, straight, whatever. My point is, you have your certain type, and you it's easy to get caught into, well, this is what I do. These are the kind of people I like. These are the kinds of this is the industry I'm in. And what you have to do is, I mean, look at it like on a grid. Say, for example, instead of looking at your job as I'm in this industry. So when you say that, when you say I'm only working in this industry, that means whatever you do, you only do in that industry. And that's only like one box on a grid. So that means you feel like, okay, I can only do it like if I'm in accounting or if I'm in marketing. Okay, I'm in a marketing department. No. Let's go back with accounting. That one's a little bit easier. I'm in accounting for healthcare. You know, so if I get laid off, I got to find another job in accounting or finance in healthcare. Well, other companies need finance people. The personal experience, I've moved and I've always dealt with numbers. So you're counting different things, but you're still counting. So it doesn't matter if your industry is healthcare, automotive, whatever. You're counting things. So for me, so it's the same thing like with your preferred type of partner. You have this ideal in your head, and maybe you get stuck on that ideal that everybody has to look like this. And then you meet somebody who blows your mind, blows your nose wide open in so many other ways. And then you look at them and go, but she or he is not my type, but I can't stop thinking about this person. And then, you realize what's important. Just like in job search. You might want to be stuck. You might want to stay in the industry that you know. I know for me, it was, when I returned to healthcare, part of the reason was because I felt like I knew that industry better than the hospitality industry. And I did. I mean, I'd been there for a long time. But there were, going into hospitality, I don't regret it because I got to learn a lot about another industry, but also I got to learn about myself and my skills. When you step outside your box, when you got that grid that say going across, you have across the top, you have industries, and then going down the side, you have jobs or job types, and you have limited yourself to one cross and one down where they meet, that's the box you're in. Instead of saying, well, you know what? There are other things I can do. Other types of jobs I can do. Maybe I need to look at some of these other boxes. And then you realize, okay, let me first go and try to do the same thing in different boxes. Just like when you're dating somebody or you see somebody you're attracted to. Okay, that person is very different than what I'm used to physically, but they got a lot of qualities, their emotion, their spirit, their personality. Got a lot of things that I enjoy, that I appreciate. So that's you venture out a little bit. So with job search, you go to another industry. But try to do the same thing. That's a way to get your feet wet, doing the same thing in a different industry. Okay? And you realize I'm doing the same thing. Oh, I can do this in this industry. For me, and I personal experience, I had been all through healthcare. So if you're on that grid where you got the industries across the top and you got the types of job across the side, I had a straight line up and down all through healthcare. I had done a lot of things in healthcare, but they were all in that one column. And then when another industry came up, it was like, oh, okay, I've already done this type of job. I've just done it in this industry. Well, can I do it in another industry? Well, it's the same thing. You're still counting numbers. If you're in marketing, you're still developing marketing plans. If you're a project manager, you're still managing projects. It's that's a way to get your feet wet. Sorry, I got distracted here. But so you don't jump full force into something else entirely doing a different job in a different industry. You try to do the same job and do it someplace different. It's like, you live in the Northeast. And you say, well, I always lived and worked here. Why would I want to live in the South? Well, if I moved to the South, okay, I change one thing, but I don't change something else. When I moved here from the New England area, I stayed with the same company. So I knew the same people. So that was a way of getting my feet slowly wet, versus just doing a total change. So anyway, I'm rambling. How do you change industries? Well, I would say you change industries if you decide, if you're looking for a job and you've been looking in this industry and it's not working, you to change industry, what do you got to do? Well, first thing, you got to wrap your mind around, okay, stop thinking about industry and think about job tasks. Think about, what am I doing in this industry? What are the things that I do? What are the skills that I've developed over the years I've worked? What are those things? What are those transferable skills? Because every industry needs accounting people. Every industry needs finance people. To some extent, every industry needs marketing people. Their jobs might be slightly different, but the core aspect of the job is probably the same. It's like if you're a cafeteria worker and you work in a corporate office for a marketing company, and then you apply for a job at a healthcare company. Well, you're doing the same thing, just different industry. So the first thing you got to do is look at, what are your transferable skills? What are those skills that are not industry specific? Now, granted, if you're a biochemical engineer and you work for BP or you work for an oil company, chances are you're not going to be able to transfer that skill to a telecommunications company. But you might be able to transfer your skills, the other skills you have. Now, granted, you might be able to mix up chemicals and blow up a house, but you can also manage projects. So those are things that you could look at. Oh, okay, I have this project management experience. I have these other experiences. I have this and that. How can I transfer these skills? So on your resume, and if you look at my resume, mine is online at tyronegriffin.com. Print it out if you want. Download it, whatever. I focus on my skills, my core competencies, as I call them. Those are the things I'm not a healthcare person. I'm not a telecommunications person. I'm not a hospitality person. I'm a finance person. I'm an operations person. Those are transferable skills. Those are skills that several industries need. So those are the things that I focus my energy on in my resume. The first thing I want somebody to see in my resume is my skills. And I've said, the whole thing about dating and job search is like that thing when you see somebody you're attracted to, and you want to get them interested in you, you don't go up to them and then tell them all the people you've dated, right? You go to them and you try to convince them that you have good skills, that you have good qualities, But think about that when we go for a job interview, first thing people bring up, oh, I've worked for all these companies. So, okay, I appreciate it. I'm glad you worked for those companies. What can you do? There are custodians, and not to bash any sanitation engineers, but there are sanitation engineers that work for Comcast, say, for example. So because they work for Comcast, we want to give them a job at AT&T or wherever, or Netflix. No. What can you do? And I always say this, job search interviewing, it goes back to, what can you do for me? And how can I, as somebody who is interviewing, how can I help you feel comfortable hiring me because of what I can do for you? So to tell you what I can do for you, I got to talk about my transferable skills. I mean, you get that question in an interview. Well, you never worked in this industry. Nope, but I can count. Yeah, but you never worked in this industry. Nope, but I know what a marketing plan is. I know how to manage a project. You need people to manage projects? Yeah, well, I can manage projects. Those are transferable skills. Those are the kinds of skills that any industry could use. If you have your PMP certification or your Six Sigma or whatever else, if you have a CPA, can you only work in an accounting firm? No, you can work anywhere because pretty much every industry needs CPAs. Finance managers, finance directors, CFOs, marketing directors, vice presidents of operations. Those are some skills that are possibly transferable. Now, when you get to that level of vice president of operations, you can't, if you've been working for GM, it's hard to go work for Apple. Well, then again, right now, everybody thinks Apple's building a car. So there are people that they're hiring from all over the place. They're hiring people from the watch companies. They're hiring people from Tesla. They're hiring people from all kinds of car industries because the rumor is that they're building a car. But those are people that they're looking at their transferable skills. It's like, yeah, you don't work for a computer company, but you work for a car company, and we're looking at getting into cars. And from a standpoint of a company, if you have a diverse workforce like that with people with diverse backgrounds and variety of backgrounds, that means you can go in different directions a lot easier than if everybody in the company has only worked in this industry. Think about that. Think about the industries that have been wiped out, or the companies that have been wiped out because they didn't see something coming. And possibly a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were so focused in one industry. Example I always give is you look at a company like BlackBerry. Used to be Research in Motion, now BlackBerry. You look at a company like that, and they just got their clock cleaned by Apple and Google. You think about this: they were the top cell phone. Some of you old enough to remember those old things about Crackberry and all of that. They were the top cell phone producer in the world, and a computer company and a search engine cleaned their clock because they were so focused on we do this, period, that they didn't realize, what we do, other people can do. It's like if you are a chef and all you do is make scrambled eggs, but you make the best scrambled eggs in the world. But that other chef across the street, if your scrambled eggs are a 10, his may be an 8, but he can make 55 other dishes. You make one. So he could transfer his skills from that restaurant to this restaurant and boom, be functional. So, BlackBerry is one of them examples, in my opinion, they're an example of a lot of things. Oh gosh, so much went wrong in that company when they got wiped out. But I think a part of it had to do with people who had only been in that industry, and not only had only been in that industry, they also thought that the MC Hammer idea. I made 30 million last year, doggone it, I'm gonna make it again next year. Nope. There was an old movie called The Gumball Rally. I know, way back, old school. And Raul Julia, sorry about that. He was an actor. He passed away a couple years ago. He had a line in that. And he said, "What's behind me is not important." There's a race from New York to California. And he went and ripped off his rearview mirror and threw it away. He said, "What's behind me is not important." That's how you got to be in business. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around. But my point is, if you want to change industry, you got to look at what are your transferable skills. What are those skills that any and every industry can use? Things like accounting, finance, marketing, those standard and those kind of generic types of jobs. Every industry needs them. Data analysis, web design nowadays. Business objects, if you're into coding, if you're great with Excel, if you're great with Access, lots of industries need people with those skills. So, but it's just like that whole dating thing. It's like, I want a tall woman. Well, but ain't no tall woman available. Well, I want a short woman. Bingo. But you like tall women? No, I like women. Okay, or I like men, whatever. Understand that when you're working, it's like, I like the healthcare industry. No, I like a paycheck. I like the opportunity to do hard work and be rewarded, whether it's in hospitality, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in technology, whether it's in the automotive industry, whatever it's in. That's really what you like. Remember that. When you're out, and especially when you're in job search, you definitely know that that's what it's really all about. I just like to make a paycheck. So whatever industry it is. So the bottom line, and I've rambled and I truly apologize, but look at what transferable skills, what your core competencies are, and how you could do those things in different industries. And when you talk to people in those industries, if you see opportunities, if you talk to hiring managers in other industries, focus on your transferable skills. Don't focus on the industries you've worked in because they're irrelevant if you haven't worked in their industry, but focus on the transferable skills. That's the most important thing, your skills. Your industry is not important. Like dating. The people you've dated in the past is not important. What's important is what can you do for me? So when you're looking at a job, when you're looking at, when you're talking to a hiring manager, when you're talking to a recruiter, that's how you try to sell yourself is I am a collection of skills. I am a package of skills. Okay? Here I am. I'm a package of these skills. I can do it here. I can do it there. I can do it there. But I'm just a collection of skills. I can apply these skills in multiple ways. Okay. So hopefully I didn't ramble too much. I apologize. I got on some stories here and I think I might have rambled, but I apologize. But I hope you got the point that yes, you can change industries. So don't pigeonhole yourself into thinking you can, unless you're a biochemical engineer, unless you're one of those NASA scientists that ran the rover on Mars. Ain't too much use for that, but you got other skills. But look at the other skills, the whole package of skills that you have developed during your working career, and then think outside the box. Where can I apply these skills? What other industries need these skills? And chances are you will realize that 99% of industries need the skills you have. Now is the challenge is to convince somebody that you are a package of skills that you can then apply to another industry. Okay. Hopefully that made sense, people. Hopefully I pulled it all together for you at the end there. Came down the stretch. Hopefully, it makes sense. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you are listening on the website, feel free to subscribe in iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave feedback so others can find the show. And I truly appreciate it. If you have a free job seeker networking event coming up, and you would like me to announce it on the show, please send it to me at Tyrone@BunnySlippersOfEvil.com. But please be aware that I may have to edit any submissions for length or content. Now, when you land, please don't forget us. Please support the show by visiting our Cafe Press store and buying a t-shirt, a water bottle, a coffee mug, a clock, or a sweatshirt so you have a memento of your time in transition. I don't want you to forget this time because the moment you forget what this is like is the moment you set yourself up to be in transition again, and none of us wants to be there again. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the show this week. I hope it made sense to you. For those people who are looking at, I can't find anything in my industry. And, that was what got me. I couldn't find anything in my industry, so I had to go outside my industry. And thank God I was able to do that, more than once. Hey, put up a new bunny tip last week. There's about 10 or 12 of them up there, 1-minute bunny tips. And those are designed specifically. I kind of take the message of a whole show and boil it down to 1 minute. And it's just 1 minute quick. Here's an idea of some things that you need to if you need a quick tip on resumes, or a quick tip on you're going into an interview, or you need a quick motivation to pick yourself up. Those are what they're designed for. And these great videos that I'm doing. I've been doing the show in video now for about 2 months. I like it. I mean, I am not the handsomest guy in the world. I mean, people didn't call me about being one of the 100 most beautiful people in the world. I guess maybe I was like number 104, but I didn't get the call, so I'm not mad about it. It's all good. But I'm doing all of this because I enjoy it, and I'm hoping that I'm helping people. And from the feedback I get, people keep thanking me, and I'm so appreciative of the responses. I didn't get into this for money. I got into this because, as I've said many times, God told me to do this. God tells you to do something, you say, okay, and you figure out a way to do it. So, but anyway, thank you as always for listening. Thank you for so much. We will be back next week, and I will talk to you again. Have a good week. Have a great time. Keep your head up. Keep focused, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care, and bye-bye.